would first like to make some critiques in response to the video The Amazing Atheist made about Amanda Todd. He mentioned Joel Morales, Kenneth Wayshawn Jr., and Rachel Emke in his video, who committed suicide like Amanda Todd, and he asked a couple of questions. I'd like to provide answers to those questions. His first question is this: what makes Amanda Todd more important than Joel, Kenneth, and Rachel, and all of the other kids who have been pressured into taking their lives because of being bullied? Nothing. Nothing makes her more important than Joel, Kenneth, Rachel, or any other person who committed suicide to escape the cruelty of bullying. Second question: and if she's not more important, then why are you focusing on her to the exclusion of all the other victims of bullying? It would certainly appear as though Amanda Todd is receiving more attention than the previously mentioned kids. Here's the thing. I never even heard of Joel Morales, Kenneth Wayshawn Jr., and Rachel Emke until you mentioned them. That's the reality. There are innumerable kids who have committed suicide in the past, the vast majority of which I've never even heard of. Let's compare person A to person B. Person A and person B committed suicide. I've heard of person A, and I haven't heard of person B. If I make a video in which I specifically mention person A and not person B, it's not because I consider person A of more significance than person B. If I did, that would be contradictory, because I can't consider person A more significant than person B if I've never even heard of person B. I can only make videos in which I mention specific people if I've heard of them. If someone makes a video about Amanda Todd and not Joel Morales, it's possible that the person has not even heard of Joel Morales, and that's perfectly understandable. I'll mention specific people that are known to me, like Amanda Todd, Joel Morales, Kenneth Wayshawn Jr., and Rachel Emke, and I'll make it clear that they aren't more important than anyone who is unknown to me. It's not a crime to mention specific people you've heard of, and it doesn't indicate that they're of superior or inferior significance if they're mentioned. The general point is that bullying must be discouraged, regardless of who is mentioned or not. Bullying cannot be eradicated. It cannot be completely removed from human behavior. However, we can discourage it and help the people who suffer from it. Third question: why do you only care about bullying victims after they've killed themselves? Well, I most certainly do not only care about bullying victims after they've killed themselves. I have a friend who gets bullied and she hasn't killed herself, and I don't need to wait for her to do so for me to be able to care about her. I've given her advice and done my best to give her strength, and I would do that for anybody if I knew they were bullied. You said that there are people in my community who are bullied right now. It's not like I know who's being bullied and I don't give a fuck about them. The truth is, if someone is bullied, it's up to them to speak up about it. Otherwise, nobody can know if they're being hurt or not. A guidance counselor can't look down the hall and read the minds of all the students. If I was bullied and nobody knew, I wouldn't blame them for not knowing, and I wouldn't accuse them of not caring about me. Also, if people talk about Amanda Todd, we're not saying she needs our help, so you don't have to say that since she's dead, she doesn't need our help. If someone dies, humans will most likely do things to just honor that person, as opposed to help that person, and that's perfectly fine. That's why people take pictures of their wrists with Amanda Todd written on them. Is that so meaningless? Fourth question: why isn't anyone talking about what really needs to be done about bullying? Whatever you think needs to be done, I'm sure that someone out there is talking about it. Fifth question: why are children and young teens unsupervised on Facebook and other social media sites to begin with? So kids these days socialize on the internet at young ages. Pretend that I have a daughter. She's 14, she's a freshman in high school. She has a Facebook account. How do you suggest that I supervise her to the extent where she is adequately supervised? I at the very least would be her friend on Facebook. I could keep an eye on what she posts. I could even talk to her myself, and it would be fun. I would also respect her privacy. I don't need to know her password and see all of the private messages she sends and receives. I don't need to stand over her shoulder to see everything she ever does on the computer. I would educate her. I would let her know that people on the internet can be very deceptive, that some people on the internet aren't who they say they are, that the information and images you share on the internet can be stored by people on the internet, etc. It's up to parents to educate their children on the dangers of the internet, and it's up to the parents to pass judgment on whether or not their children are even responsible enough to have computers, webcams, and cell phones in the first place. Judge your children on whether or not they're responsible enough for the technology. Educate them about the technology, and supervise them without completely eliminating their privacy. Sixth question. Hundreds of thousands of people die every day from causes far worse than bullying. Where are their stories? If I talk about person A who died of breast cancer, that doesn't mean everyone who ever died of starvation doesn't matter as much. If I talk about person B who died of starvation, that doesn't mean everyone who ever died in a car accident doesn't matter as much. If I talk about person C who died in a car accident, that doesn't mean everyone who ever committed suicide doesn't matter as much. If I talk about person D who committed suicide, that doesn't mean everyone who ever died of breast cancer doesn't matter as much. If someone tries to bring attention to one form of death, that person is not a moral hypocrite because he or she didn't mention every other conceivable form of dying. If someone mentions one individual who died a certain way, that person is not a moral hypocrite because he or she didn't mention every other individual who died that way. If someone mentions one individual who died on a certain day, that person is not a moral hypocrite because he or she didn't mention every other individual who died that day. Moral hypocrisy? I don't think so. I have some words to say to the people watching this video who get bullied. Please, speak to someone. You can get the help you want. All you need to do is speak out. If you're going to school, you have counselors that can make sure that the people who harass you are prevented from harassing you again. Don't expect your bullies to just stop harassing you. Take some action. They harass you because they think you're too incompetent to do anything about them harassing you. Prove them the fuck wrong. Also, don't consider leaving this world for problems that can go away. They can go away. You can look at these problems 50 years from now and laugh your ass off for having them. And you'll be proud of yourself for having the will to deal with that shit. Also, remember that the bullies aren't the only people in your life. You have people in this world that will provide you with care, respect, and love. I will provide you with care, respect, and love. If you're suffering from a similar scenario to Amanda Todd's, contact the police. Have them identify the IP address of the person threatening you over the internet, and they will apprehend the person, and you will not have to live through your body being exposed to countless strangers. Never think that any problem you have cannot be solved. Never think that everyone in the world will treat you as poorly as your harassers. I will listen to you. I will help you. Others will too. Don't lose hope in humanity. Don't throw away a chance to have a future with good friends you can trust. Don't throw away a chance to make good memories. Don't throw away the good memories that you already have. Think of what you have to do. Tell yourself that you can do it, and do that shit. Fucking do that shit. You are a dragon with wings, so don't stay on the ground. If you know someone who gets bullied or people that get bullied, be there for them. Let them know they're not alone. Give them hope. Assure them that they are not powerless. Listen to what they have to say and let them know what they can do about it. Don't act like you just be wasting your time. They will appreciate your support. If you are a bully, your words and your actions cause more harm than you realize. Everything you say and do lingers on a person's mind. If you just make one little insult about a person, he or she will remember it later that night when he or she is trying to fall asleep. That person will think of you saying that insult when he or she is looking at himself or herself in the mirror. If you're tormenting someone because you're insecure about yourself, do something about it that doesn't involve inflicting pain upon others. People bullied Amanda Todd because she slept with someone with a girlfriend. That did not justify the bullying. If someone does something that you do not condone, that does not make it right for you to cause harm to that person. If someone does something that you do not condone, there's a chance that the person already feels absolutely terrible about it. And you don't need to bring that person even more misery with verbal or physical abuse. Amanda Todd didn't need to get beaten up, tagged in pictures of bleach, or told that she needed to kill herself. If I had a girlfriend and she cheated on me with someone, I wouldn't tell her or the person she cheated on me with to go commit suicide. Because if either of them did, I would suffer from guilt for the rest of my life. Your words and actions have a bigger impact than you know. There are ways to handle situations that don't involve cruelty. Be patient and understanding in any conflict. Don't resort to vengeance. I am the MassaCreature. You're a dragon with wings, so don't stay on the ground. Shout out to Brandon Norgoth Brindle.